More than I need, what you want, girl, it's yours. Give me your feelings, I just can't ignore. 'Cause all I want is you, baby. Give me your time, all your love, I've been patient.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
Hey everybody, it's me, Brandy.
And welcome to another episode and the last episode of the year of the What They Never Told Us podcast. What's going on? We back.
2023 has officially come to a close. We are recording this episode on, what's today? December 31st.
Wow.
2023. We are closing out this season. Well, not this season. We're closing out this year. And this has been a heck of a season thus far, wouldn't you say? We've been bumpy roads we've been down this season.
What you mean, just with the
Just since we started,
scenes?
yeah. We've already talked about, the technical difficulties that we've had, but I just feel like with social media and all of that, like we ended last season on such a high, and I think I had so many high expectations. Like, we're gonna kick it off, and it's just gonna be amazing. We're gonna get more than 1,000 downloads every episode, and I was like, oh, we got to work for this. Like, it's been a struggle. It's been a push. So I am very excited to see what 2024 has in store, because 2023 it's been good to us, but I'm ready for more.
That part. I'm learning to just do the work. It was one thing I'm learning to do. You know what I mean? Like, I think we all want to see the goal and we want to see growth. But I think sometimes what they say, what's the old saying? The old adage, watch pot never boils.
You always calling me somebody old country uncle. I ain't never heard of that.
You never heard that?
No.
Or watch pot never boils. It just feels like it takes forever. You know what I mean? Like, when you're focused on, when something's going to happen, versus just doing the work. Shout out my boy Robinson, friend of the show. He wrote a book kind of about this. It was like marrying yourself to the process over the goal, right? So that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast and just everything in general. Just put my energy towards the process.
All right. Well, you didn't answer my questions.
What was your question?
I don't remember, but it wasn't that.
Wasn't the season hard, or was it trying?
No, I don't think it was hard. I just said I was looking forward to what's going to happen, what else is coming from the podcast from life in 2024, and I was looking for your feedback on what you're expecting in 2024.
Oh, that was missed among me. I'm just looking to keep doing the work. That's it. I just want to keep doing the work. I'm looking to keep putting out good content, keep growing. That's it. I just want to keep doing the work.
I before we came down here was putting together your 2023 wrap up for social media, and one of the templates that I was using was it only allowed you to use 58 photos or videos. And as I was going back through everything that has happened so far in 2023, I was like, man, how do you put a whole year into 58 photos or videos? And it's really it's a real reminder, because I think sometimes you get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life that you miss moments, especially us who always have our phones in our hands, always trying to capture something, but you miss the authenticity of a moment. And when I was going through, I realized that I've stopped doing that. I have videos and photos to just say, hey, yo, I was here. But the big things that I would expect to go back and see in a photo or in a video is not there. And I realized that I was just in the moment, and I really enjoy that. Instead of coming back and finding the videos, I'd rather have the moments and the memories. But when I'm trying to do a wrap up, it was a little inconvenient.
I want both. I want to be in the moment.
You can't tell where we at, but we're
be in the moment. I want to look back on it too. I want to look back and be like, oh, that was fun.
We need a videographer, photographer to follow us around, because it's impossible to do both. I'm realizing that.
I suck at taking pictures. I don't know what happened. I used to be good at just even on social media, doing a story throughout the day. I look back over my Snapchat and be like, I used to do that. I don't know how to do it no more.
You're boring now, though. We don't do nothing. We be sitting down all day or at work.
I've always been boring. I used to do a good job of capturing the boring though.
Here I am on the couch. Here I am in the car. Yeah, no, I'm great at taking pictures of other people. Like, I was looking back at our trip to Virginia. I am in none of the pictures. I was like, how did that happen? I don't have any pictures with me in them. I was just snapping and videoing a bunch of kids jumping at a trampoline park and running around the house, but I was not in them. I was sad.
Highlight of the year.
The best part is, my nephew being born. I love that kid. Like, I thought, like, you love your kids. Obviously, they come from you. I didn't know it was possible to love somebody else like that, like another kid, I should say. And he feels like one of my kids. I call him and check on him every single day. I have to FaceTime him. I'm like, did he poop today? How's his tummy feeling? What is he eating? Oh, you had squash? Good job.
Oh, my God.
So I think we had a lot of good moments, but I like being a TT. It's pretty lit over here.
That's what's up.
What about you?
I wish I had thought about this before I asked. I don't know. There was a lot of highlight moments.
You got flued out?
I think it was releasing music again. That felt good. That felt good coming back to putting out music. And I think that's been a goal that's been on my list for a while. So the fact that I was able to do that in 2023 felt really good.
Nice.
Yep.
I know that's important to you. So
absolutely.
Happy you got to experience that.
Thank you. Thank you. So the last episode, we did another edition of Ask R&B. The last two episodes, actually, we were covering our Ask R&B. I don't know if we said this or not, but there were a couple questions that we were like, yo, this is good, but it's bigger than just like a small snippet. We probably need a whole episode to unpack that. So the one question I think we said we're going to start off with was this. Someone wrote in and said, I feel regret is a useful emotion because it's a seed to change. Are there any regrets you had in the past but can now reflect back on and appreciate?
A regret that I had in the past but can now. I try not to regret things. I really think that I'm smart enough or intelligent enough to be like, every mistake that I made is a lesson to grow and to learn. So I can't really say that I've looked back on something and said, like, I regret that happening and now I appreciate it. I will say something that I was dreading happening, we've talked about it a million times here on this podcast, is just getting divorced. I dreaded that process. I did not want to get divorced in the moment. But now when I look back on it, I'm like, thank God I got divorced. Like there's not any part of me that regrets getting divorced, if that makes sense. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't ask for it. I fought as hard as I could. But now that it's over and I'm on the other side of it and I'm in a healthy relationship, I see what my life could have been even back then. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm glad I went through that.
Yeah.
Like, I learned so much about myself, about other people, about my trauma and the things that I needed to work on for myself that, I hate to say this, but if I had to relive that part of me, that part of my life again, I would do it. I would do it all over again just to end up here.
That's good.
You? Because it's going to be another one of those things where you're like, I didn't think about it.
Nope. I got my answer. I had a lot of regret and a lot of guilt coming out of, and I don't know if I've talked about this in depth like this, but a lot of you guys know I was a young preacher. I started preaching at 18. And then after my divorce, I don't know what's the word, quit. I'm a quitter. Just like, I just stopped going to church. I really just kind of abandoned my faith. And I was like, I'm going to just live life how I desire. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there was a lot of regret I had from that. Like, I was just really a straight-laced dude.
From leaving
my post, abandoning the post, and also like just living in sin. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I was a dude that on my bachelor party, where most people, even dudes I know in the church, they be like, "What's your bachelor party, man?" Like, it's a break from your faith. Like, this is a one night. It's okay to go to a strip club.
Weird statement.
I don't think people
from your face.
I don't think anybody will actually say that, but I think people.
It's like your one little.
It's like it's excused
opportunity.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like it's never okay to go to strip club, but on your bachelor party, it's like, hey, I mean, hey, it's your last night is you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I didn't. I was like, I was 25. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. They tried to surprise me and take me to strip club. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And really try to hold strong to it. And I was that like bold in it. I remember being a young man in college and all my friends going to the club. I went out of town with my friends. Everybody went out and said, man, Russ, come on, like it ain't even that deep. I was like, man, I'm not gonna do it. Stayed in the room, bored, out my mind, but just like I'm standing on like if I say I'm something, I'm gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? So for me to go from that to just like I can't even go to sleep without smoking or drinking. Like it was a big fall for me. And when I came out of it, like when I came to myself, I had a lot of guilt towards it. But when I look back on it, although I don't feel like God needs me to mess up for me to be what he needs me to be, I do think now my faith is just built on something different. Like whereas before, like I blindly was just like, God, like I just trust you. I know this is the way I should live my life. Now it's based on like, no, I've seen what the other side is. I fully experienced it. I know there's nothing there. So now when I say like, I'm living for God, I'm not just doing it because that's what I was raised to do. And it's my idea of what a good man should do. I'm doing it now because like, I know this is the best way I'm supposed to live my life. I've seen what the other side is. Yeah. I've seen there's no joy there. I've seen like what that has to offer me. So now when I say like, I'm living for God, like it's a whole different conviction. So I can appreciate how God used that for my good.
Right. I think there are just certain experiences that we all need to go through to just birth the person that we were meant to be. There are certain people that you won't ever be able to reach. You wouldn't have been able to reach, I should say, if you never walked those paths.
Yeah. And I really, if you're watching this for some reason, like you're in that season, I'm not advocating for like, man, you got to go out there a little bit so you can, and I'm not saying that. If you've been on a straight and narrow your whole life, God can use that. He don't need none of that. I just think he's good at redeeming. Like he's good at taking your stuff and using it. But if you want to straight and narrow, stay on a straight and narrow. You don't need to come out here. There's nothing here. I promise you, it's desolate. Stay on the battlefield, cause like it's no good over there. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's just like this. I told you I was reading the story of Job, and it's just like that. He was quote unquote perfect in the eyes of the Lord. He did no wrong. There was no fault that could be found in him, and he still had certain experiences put on him that birthed other things that needed to just come out of him. So I think that, God can use everything. The scripture, what the enemy meant for evil, God meant it for your good. Like there's so many things that God can do to use your experiences. And sometimes we just walk past that we don't really understand. That's why I try to not say I regret something, because I may not understand it fully. I don't know why I'm going through it, but I've seen it enough to know now that he can truly use anything. Mm-hmm. I look back on a period of time in my life where, because I was not like you, I wasn't raised in church. I didn't have that background, but I look back at periods of my life where, she was a mess. And I see now, when I see another young girl in that same position, I'm like, I get it. I know why I went through that. So absolutely. I could see that and be like, look, you don't have to feel this way. And since you do, let me show you or help you see what you can do with those emotions and process them to help you be a better person, because I didn't get that. And this is what I would have needed.
Absolutely.
And pour that into somebody else. So
absolutely.
I definitely think that there's no wasted experience. And if there's somebody who's listening to this who is living with like that pit of regret, I dare you to turn that over to God and let him use it, because he will make that situation. He will turn your mountain into a molehill. You would think it's such a big event, and it could truly be, but in the eyes of God, the way he can use things, he can show you how truly small it is to him. It's nothing that's ever too big for him to deal with or to handle. And when he turned that thing around, he worked it out. Yeah, perfectly. So I try not to live with any regrets. I think it's a good question.
I don't know what the word is, but I do think there's such thing as like a, for lack of a better term, healthy regret. I don't know if it's like not condemnation, but it's like just taking the wisdom of a mistake you made and being like, you know what, this feeling I have, I never want to have that again. So I'm going to take the wisdom from that. But I legitimately like take no like good feeling from like the hurt that I've caused. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I'm living with the abusive side of that where I like am beating myself up about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like there's a good condemnation, but I think it's good to live with, I don't know what the word is. I don't think the word is regret, but I do think there's a good way to like live in a state of like repentance. Like, man, I'm like legitimately sorry that I was that version of myself, and I don't want to repeat that again. I don't know what the word is. I might need to hit Webster real quick to figure that out, but it's a healthy disdain for something you've done. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Repentance. It's looking at what you did, turning the other direction, saying, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
There we go. So, yeah, good question. And that same viewer also sent in another one. I was really trying not to play it because I don't know if it was supposed to be anonymous or not, but I cannot remember the full of like what he was saying. Do you remember?
I wasn't even listening when you just played it back because that's why I said you should just play it.
So I'm going to play it. I'm sorry to this viewer if it was supposed to be anonymous. And like you say your name in it, but it's a very noticeable voice if you are familiar with the podcast. I think this is the one. I hope it's the one.
You put the Jeopardy clock up there.
Hey family, hope all is well.
That's not it.
No.
Once.
There you go.
I won't bring the same energy for the second voice note. This is more loving. I know that you're asking for questions. This isn't necessarily a question, but maybe a topic. You've touched on it before in some sort of way, but walking away, we're entering a new year. So we're closing the door on 1 year and we're entering a new year. And I think it'd be really good to hear you talk about closing doors in your life. I think so many people have doors open that are no longer serving them or were never intended for them, but they have a refusal to close them. And future doors are unable to be opened if other doors are still opened, if that makes sense. We have to close doors in order to open future ones. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, with having the faith to close a door or to walk away. So giving examples or touching on that topic would be really interesting to hear.
So shout out to that viewer. If it's the most noticeable voice I think on the podcast right now. Like, that's the homie Aaron. Shout out to you, Raising Boys to Men. Send us so many dope topics and questions. And I think that one was the one that we're like, okay, that's a whole episode to unpack.
And perfect for closing out a year and walking into a new one.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's a checklist for knowing when to walk away. But I think if you even have to question that, like, is it time? It's probably a great moment to evaluate whatever situation it is, whether it's benefiting you or not benefiting you. I kind of have a very light scenario of that. And it's when we come to our year end or annual reviews at work, they asked, what are some of your goals for the new year? What are some of the things you want to work on and you want to strive to? And I couldn't think of anything. Like, I was down and out. I even came to you like, I don't know what to tell these people. I got to sit down with my vice president and my director, and I don't even know what to tell them because I literally have no goals for this current position. I like my job. I think it serves me very well. It definitely pays the bills. But as far as obtaining something else in that position, I couldn't think of anything. And I had to take a hard look. Like, is it my chance or is it my time to walk away to find something that's more challenging or more fulfilling? And I think with any scenario in your life, any situation that you find yourself in, that it has to be a constant evaluation of that. Where am I at right now? Where am I going? Is where I'm at, is this relationship serving me? Is this job serving me? Is this the right house I should be living in? Is the right city I should be living in? Like, all of that is something that should be up to constant evaluation. I don't think you should get stagnant in anything. Like, you should be elevating in everything that you have in your life, because there's always a chance for us to grow or to move on. And I don't know how to answer that question necessarily just point blank. Like, yes, this is when you know it's time to move on. But I do think that should be something that we continue to consider in our minds.
Have you ever broke up with anybody?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes. I've only been broken up with once.
You've only been broken up with once?
Yes.
Who broke up with you?
My ex-husband.
I broke up with you a bunch of high school.
You keep saying that, but what the truth is you say this all the time too. I pulled away.
I'm just saying I'm the one
and
that
then you
communicated
finally were like,
I'm just saying I communicated it.
okay, if you want to count that, then twice.
Boom.
Congratulations.
So what were the things, like, give me an example of some of the things that you were seeing that you were like, yo, yeah, it's time to move on?
Well, so I have been very open with this part, is that all my boyfriends before my husband, not including like high school stuff, of course not Russell, but in adult relationships, all my boyfriends were dope boys. They were in the streets in some kind of way.
Why you saying not including me?
Because you weren't.
Incognito. She ain't even know.
Okay. First of all, that's not even nothing to brag about. Number one. And number two, it's a whole lie. But they were all in the streets. So when you're dating somebody that's in the streets, there's just certain stuff that comes with that.
Like
so
what?
There was one time where my boyfriend had started bringing dope in my house, and I was like, "This is putting me and my child in jeopardy." Your
house was a trap?
It was a trap house. Well, I don't know if the trap house, because I feel like the trap house is like where people come and
it's
like
an abandoned.
we went to bando. We wasn't that like it was just where he was storing it. But I had to like really assess, like, okay, I like him. I probably love him in my definition of what love is at that time, but he's putting me in a situation that could compromise my freedom and my safety and my child's. And so for me, like, that was a serious red flag. Like, hello, you need to walk away. There was another situation where he just didn't want to work. Like, he was just like, he was used to seeing the relationship between his mom and his stepdad, where stepdad didn't work. Stepdad kind of ushered the kids around and all of that. And mom went out and paid the bills. So that's what he wanted. I wasn't trying to be nobody's sugar mama.
This is a dope boy?
Huh?
The dope boy?
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's be clear.
No
this is not like Meech, Big Meech. This is like, your little corner nickel and dime, I sell weed type of.
Hey, let me ask you this, because I never knew this, and this is a little off subject. But the average, like, not the, like you said, not the top dog, but
yeah.
The dude
Street
who just,
runner.
yeah. How much do they bring in?
I mean, it depends on, it depends on the city, the economy, what you're selling.
In our city,
what you're selling.
In our city, the average weed dealer, like, you just selling, and it's probably different now, because
I
you can
feel
go to like,
you can go to the dispensary. Yeah,
you
they
go to
probably
a
ain't
nice
making no
spot.
money selling weed now. You got to move to heroin. You're like, this is just terrible. I'm not promoting any of this. I'm just saying, if you want to make some money, you got to go to the good stuff.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, so have you had any exes who were selling like the heavier stuff?
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
Now,
That
what
he
was
had
he
brought
making?
that into my house.
Now, what was he making?
Well, see, this is the thing. When you're not married to somebody and somebody running the streets, like, I wasn't in his pockets like that. I wasn't hurting for anything. If like,
Was
that's
he helping
like
pay
if
some?
I
Was he
need-
living there?
Yeah.
Helping pay some bills?
No, definitely not paying no bills. But food.
Okay.
He bought clothes, helped me take care of my son.
For sure.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
So what? Are you
So off
asking me?
subject. I was just trying to. I just like.
So where did we get that here?
Well, I thought we were talking about the same person. That's why I was confused.
No.
Okay, so the person who's bringing the house, he was bringing like heavy stuff.
Yes.
You had bricks in the crib.
Oh my God. We like are.
Who are you?
I'm way outside of my comfort zone in this
What?
conversation on the podcast.
I have no regrets.
I don't have no regrets, but I don't need them knowing all my business either.
Look at what God has brought you from.
People gonna start adding two and two together. So it wasn't him. It was like,
First of all,
like I'm dry snitching a little bit.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I didn't
told
know
you that before. I told you.
I don't think
it came in the house in a little soap boxes. I told you that.
Oh, okay. I do remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
So a different one. He wasn't dealing with it was just like weed.
Yeah, he was just selling weed, and he like literally just sold enough weed to smoke weed. if that makes sense. It's so terrible. I know. It was like, what are we doing? I remember he got a job once, and it was like in a factory that dealt with like in metal.
Okay.
And he came home. Well, he didn't come home. I had to go pick him up. He was working like second shift, so it was like late in the day. And I go and pick him up, and he's like, I'm not going back there. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not going back? He's like, I got metal all in my clothes. I was like, bro, you wear the same 3 outfits. Like, you got dirt, weed, debris, like all in your clothes. You can't put a little metal in there and go get you a paycheck.
You can't get no metal in your clothes. I feel him on that one.
Whatever. He wasn't washing his own clothes.
It's like, I ain't used to this level of manual labor.
Just ridiculous. And didn't go back.
Shit.
And then that's when I was like,
factory work.
What are we doing here?
Factory work is hard, though.
I worked in the factory for 16 months. If you cannot work in a factory for 3, it's a problem. And I'm a little bitty tiny girl.
I worked there for 4 months, and on the 4th month, it might have been like the first week of the 4th month, I was just looking at my car through the little gate, and I said, I'm not doing it.
There are certain people who are just not. My ex was like that. I tried to get him a job where my mom was working. He was like, dude, you got to get on your back. I was like, why would you have to get on your back?
On your back?
Like, do stuff where you got. That's what I said. I'm like,
I don't even know what
why would you have to do that? It's like, no, it's a factory. I'm like, my mom don't even get dirty, but just the idea of that just turns people off. So I'm not saying you got to go get a factory job, but if I'm helping take care of you and your nieces and your nephews and your cousins and your mama and your daddy, like, contribute something.
So it varied from person to person.
Absolutely.
But like it centered around like, okay, you're doing things that are harmful
or
to
just
me.
Not serving me, right? I think
like somebody bringing dope in your house, like that's harmful.
That's
like,
very harmful, right?
Sure.
And for a time, I was like, okay, it's only gonna be a little minute, but that little minute turned into weeks to months, and it's like, okay, I'm living in a subsidized housing, so this is like government paid for. Like you trying to turn the government place into a trap house. So I just couldn't do it. But I think we talked about this in the last episode. It cannot ever be a scenario where your needs and your desires are not being met at all, and it's just all on serving that person. I do believe that I had a habit of running to people to just be with somebody. And the fact that I was with somebody, maybe they add a little bit of benefit in my life in whatever category they fit in, but they weren't people who were good for me, but they were just around. Like I just needed somebody around. I needed that male attention, and we could trace that back to a bunch of stuff, but I just wanted to be in a relationship so bad that I settled for a lot of stuff. Luckily, God gave me a good amount of wisdom and discernment, and it's just like sometimes I just choose not to use it, right? Like I know when it's me, like just ignoring those nudges. And every time he's giving me one of those fork in the road moments that say you can continue on this path, or you can change the trajectory of your life right now and go a different way. And most of the time, I listened and just went a different way, because I realized I'm not, like, if I continue following behind you, I'm going to end up in a really bad position. And I can guarantee you that when this hit the fan, you're not going to be there to support me because you're barely here now. So I think for me, all of my decisions to break up or end with someone was in a situation where it was like, all right, my life is in danger here. Like my well-being is not the forefront and I need to walk away.
Absolutely. Can I highlight something?
Yes.
Your ability to mute your own cuss words is like
Stop there.
Next level. Do it again.
No, I've cursed for so long.
When it hit the fan?
Yeah.
It sounded like someone actually went and muted it out. I promise y'all she's not cussing on the podcast if you listen to the audio.
I try not to.
It was mess. It sounded like you said the word, but it got me when it's when it's hit the fan.
I be trying to be good. Sometimes they slip out. I ain't gonna lie here on this podcast, but I try my hardest not to cuss.
I'm not good at it.
Every time you mute it sounds like the cuss word.
Man, I try to like leave it blank, but it always sounds like I'm actually cussing.
Yeah, it does.
Like, man, yeah. But the way I do it, be like, oh, you cuss. I'd never forget at work. A kid was like, "You guys," I promise you, I did not cuss. I was repeating what this boy said, but I didn't say it. I think, no, you said it. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
all
you
right.
got to work on that.
I got to work on it,
Just
or I
spell
could
it
just like
something. Use a
not.
different word. Say darn.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I think I just need to depart from having sentences that are structured around the profanity.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't need that type of seasoning anymore.
That's it. I don't
Seasoning
need
with
it.
the word.
Okay, that made me upset. I don't know why, but it did. For me, I think. Well, you know what? I think for this particular topic, what we're talking about, I think a good one to highlight is one where there weren't actually reasons other than I legitimately felt God steering me in a different direction. Right? So I can recall a situation that I was really attached to, was not harmful to me. I enjoyed it. Person was good to me, but I legitimately, it was during the time when like I wasn't even living for God, right? But for the first time in a long time, I felt a nudge that was like, okay, I'm getting pulled in a different direction, right? And I don't even know why. It was very confusing to me. And it actually was like the first thing that happened before I kind of went to this weird space where my drinking got out of control, when I started smoking more. Like, it was right then. And I think that kind of like spiritual tug of war was like what led me down a path, because I was trying to solve it on my own. You know what I'm saying? And I think what God was showing me was like, okay, I was using certain things to replace
His presence.
His presence in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I was good. Like,
So you thought.
So I thought.
Yeah.
So I thought in my human mind, like, I'm good. I'm comfortable. Like, there was some semblance of stability because I had routine or whatever.
It's funny how the devil try to play with your mind. Make you think that.
For sure. He show you a bunch of routes and be like, look, there's so many different ways. It's like, yo, I know God told you not to eat of like this tree right here, but like, if you think about it, like, well, if you eat this, he's going to give you the knowledge of life and death like him. You know, that's why he would do. It's like around the truth, but it's like a perverted truth.
Yeah. Why would he put the tree here if he didn't want you to eat it? He said everything was yours.
Did he not give you domain in the garden? It's in the garden. Like,
woo,
he
tricky.
I'm telling you. So it was this like obedience apart from my flesh and what I desired and what I was used to and what in my mind I thought was good. You know what I mean? And that was difficult. It was difficult. And it all happened like really quickly. And I think there's a lot of people who might not come from a context of Christianity or church or even a relationship with God to the point where you understand what that inner voice is.
But you know when you hear it.
You feel it. It's like this push and this nudge, like, man, I feel like you're not the one for me. I feel like this, although I'm used to it, although I'm comfortable here, I just feel like I'm getting pulled in a different direction. And a lot of times, because we don't understand that to be the leading, the pushing, the prompting of the Holy Spirit, we ignore it and we'll just say, something told me. And that vagueness of something told me, it's easier to ignore than, God was trying to pull you out of a thing. And there's so many people who are cemented in relationships that God is trying to snatch you out of. But we be comfortable there.
And let's be honest, it's hard to walk away. In most of these relationships that fall into this category, your lives have been intertwined. So maybe y'all have kids together. Maybe y'all own the same phone plan or the same rental agreement you co-signed on a car for. Like, it's something in your lives that is intertwined, and the work that it takes to separate is more daunting than just staying in the relationship for that time period.
So for the sake of just painting this picture so I can like really lay it out, I'm going to enter a new stage of vulnerability that I have not yet been on this podcast. And here we are.
We need a dum.
Boom, boom, boom. Another stage of vulnerability. So, when I came out of my marriage, I was not divorced yet, but I had moved out. I had my own apartment, and before my divorce, I had started a new relationship. Okay. Mic drop, boom. Oh my God, Russell, the look. Let me tell you something, guy. What? You did that? I did do that. And I think this is fitting for this episode because, we're talking about things like we're talking about things like, things that you didn't understand at the time. Now, the relationship that I was just talking about, I felt God leading me out of, was a relationship I started while I was still married. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, this relationship is one that, once again, like it wasn't in my mind bad. Like everything that I needed at the moment, I thought I was getting that. Like it's stability. It's somebody who's like, hey, are you good? Like it was legitimately someone who loved and cared for me. Mm-hmm. Right. And because of that, now here's the thing. Anyone who's experienced divorce before or loss or any sort of traumatic, life-changing situation, you understand just how vulnerable and how not yourself you are while you're walking through it. Right? Right?
For sure.
You can speak to that, right?
Absolutely.
Think about the version of yourself that you were when you were in the worst situation that you've experienced. Now, here's what most of us don't realize. A lot of the decisions you make when you're hurt are irrational.
They're out of the hurt. Because I'm hurt, I'm going to.
I'm hurt. I'm going to. Like, I think about this might be a terrible analogy, but it's the only way I can think of. You ever see them old movies where the war hero, the action hero gets injured and there's no like medical facility, so they'll just say, here, drink this. And they just start chugging alcohol because there's no numbness, there's no numbing agent. So it's just like, here's the only thing we got for you that will make this hurt better. There's no Band-Aid, there's no, drink this liquor. And that's what I think about. Like when you're hurt, you're just looking for what's accessible to me to just ease what I'm going through.
Absolutely.
That relationship, although in my mind was serving me well, was birthed from decisions I made when I was hurt, when I was broken, right? And I don't know, this feels so timely and so led. If you're listening to this right now, and right now you're in that relationship, the one that you entered in when you weren't your best, when you weren't rational, when you were hurt, when you were traumatized, if there's ever a relationship that should be examined, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all the relationships that you entered in when you were hurt, they're bad. I'm just saying it serves you to examine, is this led by God? Is this what God wants for me? Is this healthy for me? Or is this relationship dragging me into patterns and behaviors that were not who I was prior to?
I didn't mean to step on your thing, but
no, come on, it's our thing.
I believe that what you're describing sometimes is a pattern for people. So I can recognize that as an adult, the relationships that I chose was out of a hurt that happened to me before I even could recognize, like, hey, this is something that hurt me, and now I'm making decisions. This is just what I know because there's a void in my life that I'm trying to fill because of a relational hurt that happened when I was 1 year old. So now every attachment that I have with any male in my life, I'm trying to make that person feel that void that was left and that hurt that was caused from when my dad walked out.
Yeah.
So not knowing and not having a reason and trying to rationalize my hurt in my head. Like, I don't know why my dad is not here. I don't know why he can go and raise other people's kids and have more kids, but can't be a dad to me. That hurts. Mm-hmm. So anybody that will come in and kind of have that manly presence in my life, I'll accept that, regardless of what it is. So I think there will be people like you who will realize that, oh, this event happened to me and I'm hurt. And this was the first relationship or first situation that I ran to after that to fill that void. But there will also be people like me who are dealing with a lifetime of hurt and a lifetime of pain and a lifetime of trauma. And every relationship that you've been in has been to fill a void or to numb a pain that you feel that you didn't even know was there. And I think that when you're thinking about walking away from situations or making the conscious choice to let go of something because you realize that it was serving a purpose at one point and it no longer is really, really hard. Yeah. It's really, really hard because if you haven't done the work to feel that hurt, every relationship that comes after that could possibly just be in the same vein.
Yeah. When you were talking, I had this analogy that I thought of, and I think it's so fitting, right? Everything that we carry has a requirement. It requires something. I thought about when my first child was conceived. You know, pregnant women be having the strangest cravings, right? And I didn't know, but I think it was ice cream, and there was something else. It was so random, but in my mind, I'm just thinking like it's just a pregnancy thing. I was so blown away to find out that everything that she craved, that her body randomly was like, "Ooh, I want this."
Child loves.
Not just that, but it was a deficiency. So we found out she was iron deficient. So without her even knowing that, her body was just wired in a way to say the baby needs iron. So, I want ice. Who knew ice even had iron in it?
I didn't know.
Yeah, ice is heavy in iron. I don't know what process it goes through from being water to ice, but the ice.
Somebody gonna fact check you. You better make sure you tell the truth.
Nah, don't. This is told to me by the gynecologist. Yeah. So that's why the craving, calcium. So that's why she needed ice cream, because the baby needed these things. What she was carrying created an appetite for something that she needed. When you're carrying hurt, it requires something. Now, here's the thing. Just when you were talking about your dad, right? The lack of his presence created an appetite for something that a father was supposed to give you.
Absolutely.
So now, I want ice cream. I want some ice. When in your world, it could have been, I want a male presence. I want this idea of what a man is. For me, coming out of my marriage, there had been 4 years prior to us being separated where we had no intimacy. And I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about just intimacy, holding hand, connection. 4 years. Right now, there's a man listening right now who's like, what?
How?
4 years. So when I came from that dry place, I was so thirsty for connection that when it was available to me, it was like, there's a scripture says to a hungry man, bitter meat tastes sweet, right? So this is just a word for y'all. When you're hurt, when you're carrying something, it requires something. Whatever you carry has a requirement. And when it's hurt you're carrying, you got to see what that is, what appetite that's creating in you. So for me, it was, this is good for me. So now, although I know I got these sacred vows that I took, I know I live by certain principles, and I'm not even being promiscuous. I don't even have sex outside of marriage. But now, because I'm so thirsty, now the enemy can play on my hurt. He can play on this hurt I'm carrying. He can manipulate that thirst for something and just make me desperate for it. So now something I stood on 10 years ago, like, man, I'm not doing that. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to check your appetite. You got to check your appetite. Where is this coming from? Why do I want this? Something I've never desired before. Why do I want it today?
In 2024, we all get in therapy. It should be number one on your list. Stop saying you're going to go to the gym and you're not. Stop saying you're going to stop eating ice cream at night and you're not. Just go get some therapy. You can still do all of that stuff. Just go get some therapy. Because I really feel like for me in particular, my anger started to come out. And I was like, I'm not necessarily an angry person. Like, I get mad and I blow up. And I don't know where that comes from. So I went to therapy to get that checked. Why am I blowing up? And then I discover all of these things that the anger stemmed from. Most of us are carrying hurt that we don't even realize. It's just become a part of us. We've held on for certain things for so long that it's just who we are. This is just what we do. And I believe that if we don't get to the root of those things, that they will continue to breed toxicity in everything that we touch. So the relationship, like Russell said, can feel like for a time it's serving you. It's good. It's not hurtful. Why would I walk away from it? Until one thing happens or until you start to feel those nudges. And if you don't have the wherewithal or the recognition of what it is that caused you to seek that type of affirmation, seek that type of attention in the first place, or seek that type of relationship, you're just going to get right back into it.
That part. And we got to normalize in 2024, something just not being for you. I think every time we think about something ending, especially in the sphere of relationships, it automatically gets filed into the category of it's bad or wrong or default. No, it's just assessing that's not for me.
That's so not the person for you, ain't the job for you, it ain't the car for you.
You can have something that doesn't feel bad. It can feel good. But deep down in your heart, you can feel a pushing and a prompting like, you know, although this is good, although I'm enjoying myself, although I'm comfortable, I know this isn't for me.
Ooh, drinking. That just like drinking. Both of us can say that we had a season where we just enjoyed it, right? Yeah. You were good. You was like, you know, I didn't overindulge. I didn't get drunk. I wasn't falling out. Me, on the other hand, not so much. I was toe up. But once I conquered that, like once I really had a season of, I just wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
It just wasn't something that I desired anymore. It's not that I had harmed anyone. There was nothing bad that necessarily came from it. A little bit of embarrassment, but whatever. We all have those moments. I just was like, I just don't want to do it anymore. And now when people introduce it to me, they're like, well, it's nothing wrong with it. You can have a drink. But I just realized that it's not for me. Because I've been in a season of my life before where I needed it, where I couldn't do anything without it. Like I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to talk to people. Unless I had that. Now that I've escaped that, I know now it's just not for me. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you're going to hell if you drink. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just saying for me, it's something that I don't want in my life. And I had to learn how to say no to that. Because there are people in your life who will do that. Just have a little sip. Just taste this. Just just go here. Just do this. And it's like, it ain't bad for you. Cool. But for me, I just can't accept that part of whatever you're trying to offer. And I feel like we get in a season where we're just accepting everything. Whatever somebody offer you, as long as it look good, then you're going to take it. When you just have to have the recognition, like you said, that, nah, that's just not for me. Yeah, you look good, you smell good, you treat me nice, but you're just not for me. And I'm okay with that. And you should be too.
That part. And I miss my drinking too.
You what?
I miss drinking.
That's weird.
Well, no, I mean, I think a lot of times people just be like, oh, it's bad. I have no taste for it. No, I still do, which is a reason why I can't do it. I like it too much. I remember having a lot of fun with Crown. Me and Crown Royal, or me and Jack Daniel, my whiskey, stop. So like, that's why I had to assess like, oh, no. You've built an attachment to something because you enjoyed it. Not everything that is not for you, it's gonna feel bad to you. Like that's how we categorize stuff. We'll be like, oh, this feels right, so it is right. No, your feelings will lie to you.
In your face.
They will play in your face.
More than any person will.
Yeah.
Your feelings will betray you more than anybody. Because a lot of people, we try to put that on, oh, he played me. No, you played yourself because you was listening to your feelings.
Man,
when the truth was right in front of your face.
When I first started trying to drink, it was hard for me to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Meijer, I used to avoid Meijer because Meijer got this lavish liquor section with all the, usually they keep the other stores, they keep the big liquor like behind the counter.
Yeah. Meijer is a big box grocery store up here.
Oh, yeah.
Up here in the north.
Yeah.
It's like Publix.
Bigger than Publix. Publix is like Kroger. I don't even know what it's like Food Lion if you're from the DMZ. But you can like walk down the aisle and just see like the big bottles there. You know what I'm saying? That used to be my spot. I used to be like, when am I going to take home with me tonight? So it used to be difficult for me. I think I'm in a place that is not anymore, but I remember the feeling of just being attached to my drink. And it wasn't, once again, it wasn't out of control. I wasn't passing out nowhere. I wasn't just getting blackout drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like I was one of the guys have 1-2 drinks, get a nice little buzz. Good night, go to sleep. I'm good. So in my mind, it was something in control. It wasn't damaging. It didn't affect my life in any way. It wasn't affecting my relationships. It wasn't affecting work. It wasn't like I was getting DUIs, but I could feel deep down, this is not for me. I can assess that who I am after a couple sips, the text that I'll send after my first drink, I wouldn't send before I had my
people you'll entertain.
People I entertain, the things I do. I know there's some things I'm not gonna do unless I have a drink before. It's some place I'm not gonna go unless I have a little pregame. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way with relationships, right? Like I know this version of me is not who God called me to be, and who I am with you is not who God called me to be. So even though it feels good to me, I got to let it come to an end. But a lot of us got to be like supercharged by hurt to end something. And I think that's why this topic is so prevalent and why it's so important, because we can assess, like for me, it's easy to assess, like, I don't know, this is for me. But walking away and actually being decisive and saying, this comes to an end, that's the difficult part for me. My divorce took so long because I just had such a hard time with just being like, okay, it's done. Now, mind you, it wasn't like the divorces where like, the husband will leave, but they might still mess around and, he coming back and forth and sometimes they'll stay there. When we separated, there was we were intimate when we were married, like 4 years before we divorced, so we were intimate. And that it went like that changed when I left. Like we had no contact in a romantic sense, but there was something about the finality of finishing it in the divorce. And I was like, man, I don't know how that's going to affect her. I don't know how that's going to affect my kids. All of these things I tell myself that are just stopping me from just being like, you know what? No, this is it. And assessing that something's not for you is only half the battle. After you assess that, you have to be able to be decisive and make a decision. That's actually one of the things that I'm like promising to myself going to this new year is decisiveness. The ability to make decisions and stand on that. You know what I mean? Like if I decide I'm going to do something, that's not negotiable with yourself. So if you say, hey, look, we're going to go to the gym this many times a year or this many times a week, you got to be decisive with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't relate to you on that part because
the gym part.
No, on the decisiveness, just because I've always been like, if I make up in my mind that I'm gonna do it or not gonna do it, then that's it. Like I've never been. I don't waver a lot. I don't go back and forth like, oh, well, maybe. But to get to that point, where I'm willing to say, okay, I'm about to walk away, it's always been my struggle. Because I will give 50,000 chances. I will try 17 different ways to make a situation work when everything about the situation is saying, no, you need to walk away. But I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I gotta, I didn't, but I didn't give them this chance, but I forgot I didn't talk to them about, so let me try it again. But once I made up my mind that I'm done, Oh, that's it. It's
How you say?
curtains for you. One time I said it in my head, no, you're not doing that no more. That's
What was
it.
that? Was once I made up my mind that I'm
made
done.
up my mind that I'm done, honey. You can't come back. It's like, no. So I do understand the walking away and I don't know. You have to be so sure of yourself. And I think a lot of us, myself included, just aren't sure enough to just stand on something. Like, we got to feel like, oh, we didn't give another chance, or we got to be forgiven, or if I do it, then that means it's the end of everything else. But like, once you close a door, another door is going to open. And if you're in a place where you can make good, healthy decisions for you, that the decision to walk through the next door will always be better. I can't think of one situation where I felt that, even when I wasn't saved and I wasn't listening to the voice of God, but I just felt that thing in me that was like, all right, you got to leave that alone. There's never been a time where I've left it alone and walked into something worse. It's different, maybe, but never something worse. And I really feel like that's a promise of God, is that if he closes a door for you, if he's telling you to walk away from something, he's not leading you into nothing bad or worse than what you walked out of.
He legitimately knows what's best for us. So if he's leading you in a direction, it's because that is the way that is best for you to go. Mm-hmm. I am a witness to that. Like, it's a reference point for my worship. Like, when I think about the things that didn't make sense back then, things he was leading me to that I actively was like, I don't know, this don't feel good. This don't make sense to me. Like, I promise you, like, I'm good. But when I just trusted it, and even against my own thought process, against my own decision making, I was like, I'm going to follow God. I am a witness that everything I thought I needed, he gave me something that was better for me.
And I can say that those God ideas rarely make sense, like, to us in our rational mind. The Bible tells us that his thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. So it's never like, when God tells us to do something, you probably don't have the resources. You probably don't have the things that you need to make it fully work. Because if you did, why would you need God?
No.
Like, it's like that. I don't know. It's like him putting his super on your natural and just being like, I'm equipping you to leave. I'm equipping you to move. I'm equipping you to walk away.
It never makes sense. If you read the instructions that God laid out for the ark when he went to Noah wasn't a carpenter. He wasn't he didn't know how to build things. That wasn't his profession.
People were.
I'm pretty sure he was like, huh? This don't make sense. It's going to rain? Huh? What? You trying to tell me when God told Joshua to march around Jericho's wall, expose his hand, like, show the enemy that you're just... Wait, no military. This makes no sense military wise. Just march around the wall. They could have got hit with arrows from up above. They could have got took out the game, but just march around, and then when you hear the horn yell, they'll make no sense. But he will not lead you in a way that will cause him to fail or you to fail. Mm-hmm. Like, it just won't happen.
That's one of the beautiful things about trusting God with the plans for your life. I oftentimes play the scenario in my head where I'm running from something. I'm thinking I'm the children of Israel and I'm running. Death is on my heels. And I come to this big body of water. Me, black lady, can't swim. And I feel like, I'm trusting you. I left what you told me to leave. I'm running for my life now because what you told me to leave is chasing me down. Been there, done that. But now I've run into this roadblock. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what to do. And I've seen him part the Red Sea in my life so many times. Like, I'm not telling you a Bible story. I'm telling you the story of my life, where I was literally running from a dude, hiding, ducking, trying to save my life. And there was no way out because I live in this small town. I can't pick up and move with my son. I don't know how I'm going to get rid of him. And God moved just like that. And I never had to worry about it again. Mm. And that's just one scenario where all he told me to do was close the door. Don't go back. Your life depends on you making the right decision. And time after time, chance after chance, he's never, ever failed me. Never.
That's it. He won't fail you. He won't fail.
So,
He won't fail.
okay, we're not going to go into
I thought it was such a moment.
Well,
I thought we needed an altar
we're
call.
not going to do it.
I thought it was altar call.
So, in that, I hope that we answered the question. My advice to somebody who's like, man, I do kind of feel like it's time for me to walk away from whatever it is, but you feel like it may not be the right time. It may not be the right circumstance. You don't know what you're going to do next. It's just to entrust that situation to God. I don't know all the right things to tell you when it's time to walk away. I'm not God, so I don't know. But I do know that if you trust him with whatever that scenario is, he will make it so plain to you that going back is not even an option. Staying is not, it won't even come into your mind. What you'll think of is all the places that you can go from there. Whatever that thing is that may be pushing you to walk away, I feel like if you just trust God with it, he will make that crooked path straight. And when he opens that door, you better run like, what's the name? Usain Bolt. Through the door and let him close it behind you.
That part. Absolutely. Big things 2024. Happy New Year.
I got a question for you though. Just to end it off, what are you leaving in 2023?
Indecisiveness.
That's good. That's good.
I'm trying to be disciplined. That's like what I want. I said that last year and I still see evidence of the opposite. I want to be disciplined, I want to be discipled, and I want to be decisive. That's my
3 Ds.
3 Ds. 3 Ds for Davis. I want to be discipled, I want to be disciplined, and I want to be decisive.
So you're leaving not being discipled.
All the opposites of the things I said.
Undecisiveness and undisciplined.
Complacency.
Okay.
I'm leaving complacency. I'm leaving procrastination. I'm leaving all the opposites of the things I'm talking about.
Do you have tools for that?
Tools? Yes.
Okay.
The word of God, better than a two-edged sword.
Amen.
I have I've had a great resource in my mentorship group that I'm in. I think it's great. They don't just give you good information, but it's strategy. And it's about just implementing those things. And I'm like the things that I'm supposed to be doing, I feel like he's already equipped me to do it. I feel like everything I need is in me, and I just have to unleash. And yeah, I truly believe. I don't even know why you asked me this because it's sending me down a rabbit hole.
Because I want to know.
But I feel like a lot of places I keep ending up in a leadership role. Not because I'm pursuing that, but I'm starting to see and I'm starting to be convinced, like, okay, this is just a mantle that God has on my life.
Now you're starting to be convinced.
I am.
Take a little bit, huh?
I'm starting to be convinced. I keep getting put in leadership roles. But here's what I'm learning. I can't lead other people if I don't lead me well.
That's true. That's very true.
If I can't make myself go to the gym, how I'm going to make someone...
You're going to motivate somebody else.
How am I going to motivate somebody else to put down their flesh against what feels good, against what they desire, right? Like, if I can't lead me and I like me, I love me, if I don't listen to myself, who going to listen to me?
Somebody else going to listen to you.
So I want to lead myself well. And that is my mission. Like, I of course, there's things I'm doing this year that, like, I'm a leadership role, but my number one priority is leading myself well. And I think an indication of a good leader is their ability to follow. So I'm following God, and I'm following. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, regardless if it feels good or not.
So you're just not going to say you're going to do a lot of stuff? So you're just not going to say you're going to do a lot of stuff? You said if you say it, you're going to do it.
If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm just not going to be saying a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
There we go.
Yeah, I can't commit to that right now. Let me go ask my wife.
Boom. Boom. You're going to be my no lady this year.
That's good.
What about you?
What am I leaving in 2023?
What's getting left behind?
Negative self-talk.
That's good.
That's so high on my list. I can't tell you how many times a day I tell myself really bad things about myself. I can uplift somebody else till I'm blue in the face. Like I can run out of words to tell you how good you are, how promising your future is going to be. But when it comes to me, I'm not nice to myself. And I always think about the scripture in the Bible says, love others as you love yourself. And I'm like, well, do I really love myself? Because if I love myself, I wouldn't treat myself the way that I do. So that goes to taking care of my body. That goes to what I say about myself. That goes to the decisions that I make. All of that should be a reflection of the love that I have, number one, for God, for giving me this temple and allowing me to take care of it. And then, like, it should be a reflection of what I feel about me. And I don't feel like I treat me good. And I think that some people may think that I come off closed off or what mean or like a itch would it be. And I think it's because of how I feel about myself. So I definitely need to work on that. I think I present very confident. I present very like that girl, but most of the time it's a facade. Most of the time it's like, okay, I think people expect me to show up a certain way, so then I will myself to show up that way. But in the inside, I don't feel qualified for anything that God is calling me to. And I need to work on that.
Being convinced of it.
Yeah, and just like, I don't know, like I tell myself that I'm fat and ugly and I don't look cute and I'm not smart and, you know, all those things like, oh, you can't do that. And it's like, well, maybe I can't in myself. Maybe I can't do that. But my relationship with God tells me that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Yeah. So when he's calling me to do something and I'm sitting there telling myself that I can't do it, that in itself is like sin. I'm going against what God is saying. And I know that it's like in my mind. I have you telling me all the wonderful things about me. I have the people around me telling me all the wonderful things about me. But I need to believe that.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's what I'm attempting to leave in 2023. But it's one of those things. If we're talking about closing doors and walking away, it's something that's been a part of me for so long. I didn't have a lot of people telling me good things about me growing up. So not hearing good things about me made me not feel good things about me. And now when I speak to me, it's not good things. So it's more than a year of, I just talked bad about myself in 2023. No, I've talked bad about myself since I was able to talk to myself. So it's going to take work. Yeah, I've been working on it. Like when negative thoughts come into my mind, I try to speak the word of God over myself. And those are things that I just need to continue to do. I think in my mind, sometimes I feel like I'm going to get to a place where it just never happens. Like I never have a negative thought about myself. And I think that's just unrealistic. Yeah. But I need to know what to do with the negative thoughts when they come. Yeah. And so that's what I need to practice more and just, like I said, being more kind to myself. Constructive
over destructive.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to love you the way you love me.
That's it. No, for real. And like, you know, I think people like you. I had a supervisor who I work with who had a similar gifting, right? Like their vision is different. Like they have the apostolic anointing where they can like walk into a room and just see what's wrong with the room, right? Like, this needs to be moved over here. You know, we'll be editing the podcast like the camera's crooked. I'm like, I don't see that. It is. We're not centered. Like
the problem is this is the first room. This is the first room that I'm walking into, and I'm just tearing it down.
Yeah, but like it doesn't. That vision doesn't turn off, right? Even when you look at yourself, you can see areas where it's like, okay, you need to do this better. You need to do that better. This is something you have the ability to do better. And once again, if it's not constructive, it can be destructive. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think what you're saying is just like I just want to treat myself better. I think that's dope and noble. And I think the fact that you can even point that out though, like no therapy, just like this is where the Holy Spirit is leading you. I think that's light years ahead of what most people do. Because most people, if they live their life like that, it's just what's normal to them.
Well, yeah, I can 100% credit the recognition to my relationship with God. This is what he's telling me.
Yeah.
And it's why that scripture has always stung me. Like, love others the way you love yourself, like that. It's like the first commandment. Like, it's like, it should be really easy, right? But like, I do believe that if you don't truly love yourself that you can't love other people. And I really want to love other people. Like, I have a heart for people. Like, I will take up, you want these shoes? You need my car? Go ahead. You know, like, I'm very much giving in that way, but I don't give to myself a lot. And I think that is, even as it relates to like just taking time for myself, I feel so guilty when I do that. I'm constantly checking on y'all. I'm like, there's not been a time where, not that it should be, but where I'm away from you and I don't speak to you. Like, I'm at work, I'm wherever it is, like the grocery store, I leave the house, like I'm making sure that things are okay. And I don't take a lot of time just to be like, all right, Brandy, this is for you.
Yeah.
So
it's good. It's good. And it's going to be a good year because of that. It's good goals. Amen. Absolutely.
Now we've documented here on the podcast. So when, you know how people get it, you remember on the podcast when you said, I'm like, yes, I remember. Okay. So y'all hold us accountable, and if you got some stuff that you need to work on and you need an accountability partner, we got you.
That's it. Not big on resolutions, but definitely cast your vision for what you want for your life, not because of a year, but because of who you know God's calling you to be, right? You know the standard that you feel in yourself or what you're supposed to be, the version of yourself you're supposed to be. Don't run from that. Run into it.
If you don't know that, pick up the word. It'll read you while you read it. Trust me.
That part. We have entered the era of life where New Year's Eve is not a party. It ain't a drink. It's a whole lot of nothing. That's happening.
And chill.
That's it. That's how we bringing in the New Year. So whatever your plans are for the night, hope you're safe. Well, you're not going to hear this before New Year's Eve.
You won't. But it'll
hope you were safe.
It'll be my birthday. My birthday would have passed when y'all hear this.
But Monday.
So you can still wish me a happy birthday. I still accept all late gifts. You can send them directly to the $ or What They Never Told Us pod Cash App and just like put brand for Brandy. So I know. Because we usually don't touch that money for personal stuff. But if you put for me, I'm going to pull it out the Cash App, okay?
Nah.
I'll be 39. Just send me $39 or $3 or $9.
I keep trying to tell Brandon that 39 don't exist in the age scale.
39 is on the number line. You cannot get to 40 without it. It is a prerequisite for 40. I'm in my prerequisite year. Thank you very much.
Black people
hold yourself.
Black people clump 39 and 40 together.
I'm not one of them. I'm in my prerequisite year. Okay.
You gonna say, how old are you? 39? Girl, you 40? I said I'm 39.
Read the syllabus. 39 is a prerequisite for 40. I'm about to walk into that gracefully. And it gives you time to prepare for my trip for Greece. So don't rush 40
for
too
40?
much. Yes. I bit my tongue, but yes.
See, you bite your tongue. You bite your tongue. Nah, but man, yeah, your birthday's coming up. I'm gonna give you more sound effects. I feel like I should have highlighted that
a long time ago. I was waiting for you to bring it up, so I just had to bring it up myself because I'm like, okay, he's not gonna tell the people that
the holiday just be overshadowing your stuff.
My birthday is the holiday. They're synonymous with one another.
It's like your birthday on Christmas. You can never truly just enjoy your birthday.
That's not true. I enjoy my birthday all the time.
But it's not Christmas though.
Because most people celebrate New Year's Eve. Most people don't celebrate on New Year's. Like, it's not.
It's true.
So I get my birthday. y'all had a party life and all that beforehand. Just make sure my mama had my gumbo. You take me to go get some good food, and we're good.
That's what's up. Man, I feel like I should have did so. Maybe I'll say that for the next one. I'll say it for the next one.
No, it's too late because that'll be after my birthday, and then it's just like, yeah.
What did you learn this last year of life?
What did I learn about myself, or just
what
anything?
Did 38 teach you?
38 taught me that there is more to life than just being comfortable.
Expound on that.
I think that my goal was always like, I just want to be comfortable. Like I don't want to worry about paying my bills. I don't want to, be chasing behind some man. I just want to, I want to be comfortable. I want my family to be good, but there's so much more to life than just being comfortable. And nothing is ever achieved in your comfort zone. Like people ask me like, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, I think I'm good. That's not enough. I don't want to just be good anymore. Like I want everything that God has for me. I don't want to settle for just like the bare minimum, the basic.
You preaching.
So 38 has taught me that Comfortable is not enough. I have done so many things in this year that I just never thought that I would do. And it's been amazing. There's not one experience that I didn't have on my bucket list that I actually accomplished that I regret. Like, oh my God, I wish I never did that. I never saw it for myself. I never asked for it, but I'm so glad I got to experience it.
That's it. That's good. That's really good. I love that.
Thanks.
Can't wait to see what 39 does for you, what you learn from 39.
39 super fine.
Ooh, period.
You know, black people always got to make something rhyme.
Always.
38 about to be great. 39, I'm super fine.
Ooh, nothing wrong with 40.
Good Lordy, I'm 40.
I'm irritated. I'm
40,
bothered.
take me to the Geordie. We going to the Jordan River. That's where I'm going now.
No one calls the Jordan River Geordie. No one does that. Okay. Now, you ate with Good Lordy at 40. Now, I don't know who's slave. who was slaving that Good Lordy at 40. I don't know what that was, but.
40, take me to the Geordie.
Huh?
I want to go dip. That's what I want to do for my 40th birthday. I want to be dipped in the.
Stop
I want to be baptized in the Jordan River like Jesus. That's what I want to do. I hope the conflict in Israel has been resolved, not for just that moment, but for the people there.
15 seconds have just been foolishness.
That's what I want to do.
You just say
I changed my mind.
You don't want to go to the Jordan River.
I actually do.
You're telling me right now, instead of Greece, you want to go to the Jordan River.
Yeah, I do. My coworker told me that it was very beautiful, and now I want to go get baptized in the Jordan River.
I'm not going to the Jordan River.
Now I'm gonna have a hashtag.
All right, y'all.
Took me to the Jordy on 40.
Okay. All right, y'all. So, Happy New Year from what they never. Happy New Year from what they never told us. Please stop talking. Please stop it. I am begging you. I am trying to turn the corner now. Leave that in this year. Woo! Okay.
That was good.
Happy New Year from us. We love you. Wish you all the best going into the new year. We will be back on Thursday for another live on Facebook and YouTube.
And Instagram.
I forgot Instagram rocking with us now. So that will be happening. And we'll see you back on Tuesday for another episode.
Always remember, we love love.
And y'all really should love too.
Peace.
Peace.